Before we get started on today's content, I wanted to say Merry Christmas. For those who acknowledge it, I want to just say I hope that today, as you're listening to this, you have taken under consideration all the things we've been talking about for the past 24 days. And today we close out this series for Vlogmas. And I wanted to begin with that. If this is your first time catching me, my name is LaTashia Martin, also known as Techie Tasha. And we're going to jump right into today's topic, which is you were never behind, you were becoming. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So when I started this series, I didn't know exactly where it would lead us. I had a sense of a conversation we needed to have, and I knew the women that I wanted to speak to, but I didn't rush to the ending because this wasn't about arriving somewhere. It was about telling the truth and how now that we're here at the end of Vlogmas, I wanted to slow down for a moment and talk directly to you. Not the version of you who is productive or capable or strong, the version of you who has been quietly listening these past few weeks and thinking, this sounds like me. Over these days, we've talked about exhaustion. It didn't come from failure, but we were carrying too much for too long. We also talked about clarity returning in subtle ways and about possibilities, about the possibility of becoming personal, and about redefining success, honoring sustainability, releasing guilt, and finally standing in the ownership of who you are right now. But here is the most important thing that I want you to hear today. You were never, and I mean never, behind. You weren't late to your life. You didn't miss your moment. You didn't fail to figure something out when you should have. You were simply becoming. And becoming takes time. High capacity women don't collapse when things stop working. We typically adjust, we adapt, we push, and we make it through. But there comes a season when adaptation stops feeling like strength and starts feeling like disconnection. When pushing stops being impressive and starts being expensive. And the hardest part of that season isn't the change itself. It's realizing how long you've been moving without fully being present with your own life. Not because you didn't care, but because you were needed everywhere else. And you stayed with me through this series. And I want you to know something. That wasn't about motivating you to do more. It was about giving language to what you already knew but hadn't said it out loud yet. It was about normalizing the internal shift that happens when a woman has done everything she was supposed to and is now asking deeper questions. What does it look like to live in alignment with who I am now? That question doesn't come with a deadline. It comes with an invitation. The invitation isn't to reinvent yourself overnight. It isn't to quit your job or make dramatic announcements. It isn't to prove anything to anyone. It is an invitation to simply do this. Stay connected to yourself. Stay connected to the version of you who is waking up right now in this season. Stay connected to the version that helps you hear your own voice more clearly. Stay connected to spaces where you don't have to perform or explain your growth. And that's why I want you to stay connected here. Not because I have all the answers, but because this channel is where these conversations will continue. Quietly, honestly, without pressure. If this series resonated with you, subscribing isn't about supporting me. It's about choosing an environment that supports you. An environment where high capacity women can keep exploring who they're becoming together. And I also want to say this very clearly. If something shifted in you during the series, you don't have to hold that alone. You don't have to process it in isolation. You don't have to figure it out quietly while continuing to show up for everyone else. There's a place for women just like you, a place where you can listen more than you speak if you want, a place where support doesn't come with expectations, a place where community feels like relief, not responsibility. And that's why the VonSwy Recreation Station is not a program you perform in, but a space you land in. And for women, the right next step isn't just community first, it's a conversation. And when you think about that conversation in a private space to talk through things with someone who understands the weight you carry and the season that you're navigating. And that's why one-to-one conversations exist also, not to rush you, not to convince you, just to help you hear yourself without interruption. And as we close Vlogmas, I want you to take this with you. You don't need to become someone new to move forward. You need to honor who you already are. You don't need urgency, pressure, and you don't need to catch up. You need to trust. Trust in your timing. Trust in your wisdom. Trust that this next chapter doesn't require you to abandon yourself to be meaningful. Thank you for spending these days with me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for reflecting and for staying present. This isn't the end of the conversation. It's the beginning of one more honest one. So stay tuned, stay connected, subscribe, come back. Let this be a place where you don't have to rush to when you're becoming, where you are never behind, where you are becoming, and where you still are. Again, my name is LaTashia Martin. I thank you so much for staying with me on this journey of Vlogmas in 2025. And I'm so excited and so looking forward to what the future has with no deadlines, but just in a space where you are the best, where you have an opportunity to be the best version in the version of who God created you for, and to have the support as you are becoming and feeling like you are a part of something greater. God bless. I hope you have a Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year. Love you much and blessings to you.